I wanted to say it's great to be back in Mineral County. I know that over the years, as I've served as your Attorney General, I've tried very hard to come here and really live and learn from the people of Mineral County as much as any county in the state. I hope you've noticed that I try to come back. I haven't been around as much during COVID. I think we all appreciate what's been going on. But when I received the opportunity to come back to Mineral County to celebrate a National Day of Prayer, I jumped at the opportunity. As some of you may know, 4 years ago, I came for the National Day of Prayer, and we spent a lot of time talking about the importance of prayer and how we think about it in our office and how every one of us think about it in our daily lives. And so I thought it would be nice to come back since it was 4 years where I was here for National Prayer Day, and it had been probably about a year since COVID where I've really come back to your county and spent some real time. So I'm glad to be here today. Now, several years ago, I was speaking with a group of students, and this was post-2018. I was in a rather pensive mode. I thought we'd start with a little bit of a story, a background. I think that'll resonate with folks. I know that on a personal level, there were some challenges going on in my life. My mom got very sick, eventually passed in 2019. Really tough time for me. I was very close to my mom. And there were a lot of other challenges going on in the office. And I was looking out at the national side, and I said, this might be an opportunity for a change of pace, because I was speaking to students, and rather than just have a speech about all the role of the Attorney General's office, something I've done probably 1,000 times since I've been in office, I said, I think we should do something a little bit different today. So when I went to the school, and I went to a number of other schools, I came up with something which I called the Peace Speech. And it was designed to be a little bit inspirational in nature, because I thought that was needed at the time, in the era that we're living in, what we were going through as a state. And also, quite frankly, given the pensive mood that I was in, I thought it would be a little bit refreshing from a personal perspective as well. So, during one of those speeches, I started to really think through what are the P's that would help all of us succeed in life. And I thought we'd try to tailor it to fit to the youth of our society, because they really do need the most amount of inspiration. And so before one of the events, I think my staff put some of the talking points together, as they always do. I think I ripped it up, and we have great staff, by the way, but I said, let's go in a different direction. And I started by talking about P's. First one being purpose. One of the most important P's in life. It's kind of the why are we here and why am I here question that we always ask. It's kind of a foundational block on how we think about our lives. What makes us meaningful? What's our purpose? Then we said, when you have purpose, you want to be positive in your life. We want to make sure we're sharing hope and love and joy and infecting other people with the positive energy within us. We talk to kids who want to accomplish things, and we say, how can you accomplish things unless you're positive? You have a message that's going to try to achieve. That's a critical building block as well. How positive are we in our lives? Then we go through, I started giving the speech, we talked about a number of P's. One of them was practice. We asked the question, how does Tom Brady keep winning Super Bowls? How does he perform at age 41 at such a high level? Well, it's not by accident. He practices all the time, every day, gets up 5 in the morning, he works out. But he doesn't just practice. He engages in something that I call perfect practice. He tries to do the right thing every time, 5,000 times in a row. He wants to hit that receiver that's running in the slot and get it just right. That's how he wins. So we start off with purpose, positivity, practice, perfect practice, and then we start to get into some of the other P's. Persistence, your ability to survive in the face of adversity. And that one to me resonated, because all of us have challenges in life, and it's not that we have the challenge, it's how we handle the challenge and deal with it. So persistence was part of it. Partnership. None of us are an island, and we think about how critical it is to have human relations, partnerships in terms of solving problems. When I come to you to Mineral County today, I don't view myself as an island. I work for you, and we're all partners in the same effort to make Mineral County better, to make our state an amazing place to live, work, and play. Partnership is critical. Then, of course, principles. To succeed in life, we all need to have principles. What's the ethic? What do you actually stand for? And so I think you're beginning to see a little theme here. But there was another P on that day that I decided to talk a little bit about. And I'm sure it's not going to come as a surprise to you what that P was. And that's the concept of prayer. Now, before I came here today, I've thought a lot about prayer in my life, but I thought I would look in the dictionary of how the Oxfords and the Black's Law Dictionary, how do they define prayer? And here's what they say. Prayer is a, quote, solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God. It can also be a religious service, or it could be an earnest hope or wish. I think those are good definitions, but I'd like to add a little bit more to that. I think when all of us think of prayer, we think it's one of the principal tools that we can use to unlock our spirituality. Prayer is the gateway to our soul, and we have to embrace it. We have to use it to connect to our higher power. Now, I have to admit, when I was at that speech a number of years ago, there were a couple people that heard the word prayer, and they started to say, uh-oh, what direction is the Attorney General going in? He needs to know the Constitution. There's a separation between church and state. Now, none of this is meant to proselytize, but it is meant to make people think about the Free Exercise Clause and the importance of prayer. And I think that the goal that I had that day was to unlock that spirituality that exists within all of us if we just give it a chance. That's what I think about when I think about prayer. And on that day, I added that P because I thought it was important for students as they're learning to begin to untap all of that amazing potential within them. Now, when I'm in my office every day, I consider different things that try to advance that very goal. And this doesn't necessarily make me or anyone who talks about prayer the darling of the politically correct class. I think you guys know that, right? But this is what undergirds our efforts every day. This is why when there was an opportunity nationally to help ensure that legislative prayer could occur before session, why West Virginia jumped out in front and helped lead in that effort. And we preserved the right to have prayer before you go into legislative session, right? It's why when we had a big controversy in Bladensburg, Maryland, about a memorial that was in the shape of a cross, that West Virginia got out in front and said, we need to preserve that symbol to respect our World War I veterans. And we do so in order to remember them and tie back into them spiritually. We won that case, and that memorial stands. It's why we stand up for religious liberty religious freedom on a regular basis, because we're not just a bunch of widgets or machines. We're humans. We're made in the image of God. We have to respect that every single day. So you see our office getting it out in front, protecting religious freedom. It's also why I fight so hard to protect the sanctity of life, because I think that's a core duty of a public official. Now, our office tries to recognize the value that faith and prayer play in helping America endure. We work regularly with churches and faith-based groups on the best ways to reach out on a spiritual level to solve problems. That's why we've had a lot of our faith-based efforts fighting the opioid epidemic. We want to empower individuals to touch, to connect with people on a personal, deep, and spiritual level. Prayer enables that to happen. We want to work with people in that capacity because we know, quite frankly, it's probably even more effective than government coming in and suggesting we're going to be the solution to all your problems. We can reach the hearts and minds of people more easily through prayer than we can through any government edict. Today, we affirm this power of prayer and the significance it has for the leadership of our country. Today, we unite in partnership in prayer, which we do not run away from. We unite in principle, we unite in faith, we unite in love, we unite in hope for that chance of a better life, a deeper understanding and appreciate of all the many blessings God gave us. And we should not be afraid to say it. Now, these are all very challenging times. I wake up every day and I think about what we're going to do in the next 24 hours. And boy, it's a long list. You know, I'm not going to get political on a speech like this, but we have a new administration. That keeps me pretty busy, right? And we have to think through how we're going to handle that. We have a drug epidemic that's raging in our state, and it comes on the heels of what we've been grappling with, the pandemic. And it's sad to say, but we may have taken a couple steps backwards during the pandemic in terms of how that drug epidemic is handled. Because when you focus all of your energy just on one thing, you might watch that weed in the side, in the grass has grown pretty tall. We have to keep our priorities straight. And so when we think of attacking that opioid epidemic, we think of prayer. When we think about the deep divisions that we see in our country, red state, blue state, differences, fights between neighbors, we know that one of the most important things we could do to address that is to pray, to obtain guidance, to unlock that spiritual potential. When everything else around us is crashing down, prayer reinforces hope. It helps us, to use one of my favorite phrases, keep the faith, and it opens the door to the amazing potential of our humanity. I'm very grateful to be here in Mineral County today. You've all treated me very well over the years, and I can tell you that you have a special place in my heart, which is why I very much wanted to come back here today and spend some time with you. You're the salt of the earth. You care about your county's future, your state's future, your country's future, but even more importantly, you care about our nation's spiritual future. That's what really matters most of all. So we have a beautiful day today, and I always say on days like this, let's take a pause and let's think about something we can do by becoming more spiritual, by connecting with people, by connecting with our God, our higher power. And then, and only then, will we truly reach our potential as humans. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come here today. Let's keep that hope moving forward. And I look forward to coming back to Mineral County many times in the days, months, and years ahead. Thank you. My name is Patrick Morrisey, and I'm grateful to be here.